Kenya already dominating against Zimbabwe in the scrum.
Yeah.
But Teddy Akala takes it a notch higher and stabilizes that scrum for Kenya.
Yeah, yes, the set pieces were actually stable. The worry is what happens after that. And maybe one of the things that we now have to take particular caution of is the wind direction, because you're also looking at it and seeing that they were struggling for distance on the clearance kicks. Zimbabwe was playing to the wind, so while Kenya's playing against it, and, and that, so it drives your kick a lot further if you're clearing, and also then you have to use a lot more energy for the Kenyan. So some of these little things, I think we just haven't analyzed it to that point, but I think that is also maybe why Ian Pryor was able to convert those two long range penalties, because you see it's
with the wind
assisted. Yes, wind assisted at some point. If you look at the flags, they are all really waving towards the side of the Kenyans, so it does have an effect. And as the teams after they've played 2 games, I think now that starts playing in their minds which side they are going to actually start, so that you'd rather have the wind at your back aiding you in the second half, because a lot has happened.
You know, every time we're around Kings Park and Nambole, I'm sure the Ugandans have already figured it out, but probably the other teams have not, and given that they are not playing at regular times, it's only going to be the second time that Zimbabwe is playing at 4 p.m. But in the morning, it's a bit calm. There isn't much wind, but it's chilly. In the afternoons, it is hot, but the wind is not there. Once it clocks 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. at Nambole, the wind is just all over the place. And perhaps that gives an explanation. You're John Ekubu trying to exit, but you can only exit it just outside the 22 because of the wind. But on the other hand, Ian Pryor has a 50-40 meter and he just has to punch it. Of course, he says he gave it his everything, but there's a bit of assistance from the wind, from the wind that is blowing in his direction. Perhaps that's what could have helped Zimbabwe in playing in those right areas, those exit kicks going all the way. There was a brilliant 50-22 in there. So, and Kenya did not get many opportunities for territory. I felt after the 60th minute, Kenya now, they get the restart. They have an opportunity to go into Zimbabwe territory. Not close enough to go for points, but when they had the option for the line out, they gave it their shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think Kenya also guilty of, I think, trying to overplay. At some point in time, you just have to be direct. The scoreboard's against you, so you have to now just start taking it in and just trying to milk those penalties. And the impact from the bench was not as serious as the impact that the bench had for Zimbabwe. So I think that also gives you an edge, because you're never sure what you're going to get, because Jobe just came and lifted his energy, his defensive work, his distribution just lifted the momentum of the Kenyans. And the same thing with Aiden Barnett. He was now starting to find gaps in the Kenyan defense. So the Simbas just had to up the tempo quite early, because they were down a couple of times. But kudos to the Sebos. The Sebos actually then kept ball. And once you're stabbed of the blue pill, then you're guilty of just giving away penalties as you're trying to retrieve it. So,
you know, we talk about Zimbabwe doing so many things so well, but it wasn't a flawless performance, because look at that try in the very last minute. That was the last play. It's a line out that they have. Mzekenyezi has just given away the ball at zero cost. The hooker has thrown an over ball and it's gone to a Kenyan hand in red, and they conceded a try. This was a different performance from what we have always known the Sebos to be. Yes, they won, but they will be beating themselves for keeping this game as close as it was towards the end.
We just to go back, when you talked about the wind, when we had Ian Pryor on set, he talked about that long-range penalty that he decided to take. He said that he has practiced a lot with that one. I guess message also reaches to many kickers. The more the practice, the better can beat the wind with practice. Yes. Now, going back to the Sebos, in this particular game, there was a bit of luck, an element of luck.
it's okay to, because you need to be lucky.
Sometimes you need to be lucky.
We tend to not want to say it, but you need to be lucky. You need to wake up feeling lucky. Usually I ask our local coaches, how are you feeling? It's like, did you wake up feeling lucky? Like, yeah, you feeling good? Like, yeah, I'm feeling good. You need an element of luck at some point, because you can do all things so well, but it's just not your day.
The Simbas had that in that game, because when you look at the numbers, what could have the what ifs are not in favor of the Simbas, but they made use of their chances, and like I said, Ian was the element of that win.
Could you please share maybe just one example of what if? Just one what if?
What if John Kubu's penalties that he took in the first half, there were 2 of them, so you're looking at 6 points, and then there was also another conversion that was taken from far away, so looking at 8 points.
But Ian Pryor missed a couple, no?
I think the what ifs go to particularly that try there in the corner. What if that ball was grounded? Yes. What if that try was scored? Then they would have a lot more time to play, as opposed to the back and forth and then the last minute ditch, which wasn't actually their ball. It was an overthrow, and I think that was really, really careless of Zimbabwe, because at that point in time, Chester Williams used to tell us, you're either making it a three-man line out. That way, there are so few people that the overthrow will actually work. And also then the contest is either at 2 or at 4. There's not much shuffling around.
You know, at that point, if you put in, see, if the line out is on the 5, your players are going to stand on the try area, so they are 5 meters away, and the Kenyans are going to stand, your opponents are going to stand 10 meters away, because the offside line for a line out is 10 meters. You have 5 meters on them. But when the ball is thrown, it misses a hand. I'm thinking it was not an over ball. It misses a hand, because the Zimbabweans went up in there, they missed it, and the first reaction was by the Kenyans to get onto that ball just right in time, and they scored that try. So I look at it, and you see there's so many what ifs, like that very last play, with the images that we have and the facts that we have could play that way. I feel like for a safer, to play it safe, keep in a safe ballpark, that final play we can maybe hold it until we get advice on from referees and maybe from match officials on what exactly happened, because we did not have the referees' comms, what exactly happened, and then maybe we can get guidance before we can discuss it.
But that said, I think Zimbabwe did and have the impetus the second half, played in the right areas for long moments of this game, giving themselves the best chance that they would have to actually win that game. And the late flurry by the Kenya Simbas is not something that we have seen every day, because they normally pitch out towards the end of the games. And in that late flurry, they knew, and they gave it a push, and they gave it a try. So save for that decision at the very end, the what ifs again would be, what if they had a kickoff and they were winning the kickoffs, which means they would be able to get possession. But I think they left it also a little too late. 23, 29, you still need a fully converted score. If you need full points for that. So I think they also left it a little too late. But kudos to Zim. The Sabres just controlled the second half. It was a very, very measured performance. Right from the try that Barnett scored to tie the game, and then for the go-ahead. So they actually said controlling the game from there. And lessons to all those out there, that is how to play a second half in a championship game, because you don't then have to be fancy. Don't be like
no fancy.
No, there's nothing fancy. You at some point in time we even used to call it, let's play the England rugby.
What is England rugby?
They slowly measured and very, very perfect.
Slow but sure.
You don't have to no flicks.
You call it the England way. I would like to call it the Eagles way.
Okay. So I think Zimbabwe just played the second half the very right way and kept the ball as long as possible. The clearance kicks were spot on, attacked in only when they were in those very, very potent areas. Otherwise, everything else was really slow and measured and to the point. And I think that's how to win championships.
We'll go into this. This has been a review of the semi-finals and the placement games. Starting tomorrow, we'll start looking at the final match day. But just briefly, and now as we conclude, as the clock ticks to 7 p.m., just briefly, I'd like for us to now picture what's coming ahead. Kenya is playing Algeria in the bronze medal match, and that's going to be at noon. A repeat of last year's semi-final, revenge, or more of the same, or less, because the bronze medal match usually is the one game no one wants to play because you wanted to be in the final. It's the one which will not have much about it, but it's still a big game.
Yeah, it is a place on the podium, and for me, I love the fact losers match used to give it that kind of aura, but it's a bronze medal match. It's a chance for you to be on the podium. It's a chance for you to go home with a piece of silverware as opposed to everybody else, and also it leaves these last games. You want to leave the tournament on a high. You would not want to leave the tournament with an L. So it's a lot to play for, and the fact that it could be now down to revenge. They gave us the short arm or the short stick last year. So are we better than we were because we've played everybody else, and this is where we are. So can we be third? So for Kenya, it would be a step up in terms of rankings.
You know, Zimbabwe and Namibia are technically not neighbors, because there's Botswana in the middle, but the Zambezi River, where it crosses the border, there's Zambia up, Botswana here, and then Namibia has like a small strip towards its border where it touches the Zambezi, and that's where Zimbabwe is. So technically, if depending on where you're standing, but away from that, these are two sporting giants in Southern Africa, especially when you look at Test cricket or cricket in general. Zimbabwe and Namibia are very prominent countries in cricket. They are prominent countries as well in rugby. This is the Rugby Africa Cup final. We are in East Africa, but can you feel the energy from the south buzzing as we tick towards Saturday?
Yes, we shall have a great final. Two sides they're very structured. They have a system that plays, and we're going to see both of them executing that. However, I look forward to see who will come off a bit what they usually play, and see if they merge into playing what the opponent is playing and see what they can do with that. I believe Namibia is very adventurous, and we'll see a bit of a notes from Zimbabwe to this side, just to I would use the word maybe tease them a bit, but it will be an interesting final. And just to go off that, I just wanted to remind Soki here that the Scrum halves continue to up the tally of tries. Hilton Mudariki added to the tally, and
we need to ask for help from Isa Matrix. Count for us which position has scored the most tries. And you see, you might be onto something, by the way.
Exactly. Here's for the big men.
Yes. You know, it has to be this. You see, the scrummers have the ball all the time. Imagine after every ruck, the scrum touches the ball. You understand?
Play, they are always passing to the next guys to score tries. What about one for themselves?
Yeah, today's conversation has ended on a very good note, because now we have something to look forward to tomorrow as we are thinking about which position has scored the most tries. We'll try and talk to Isa Matrix nicely to help us with which position has scored the most tries.